most of the Caucasian couples that I deal with, even Hispanic couples, they got no problem at all. It's mostly our demographic that has an issue. A white guy, and I mean nothing by it, right? But a white guy can go home, tell his wife that he wants to be pegged, which is like he wants her to insert a phallic symbol into his, right?
A phallic symbol.
Right. right away, that makes people cringe, right? And I mean most of us, especially most black people, right? You do that as a black guy, go home and tell your girl that. First of all, she looking at you like ill.
Yeah.
The next thing that's going to happen is she calling her homegirl
She's
saying
going
you gay.
100%.
100%, right?
Even
and
if,
then,
even if
right?
y'all been together
and then
for
you
years.
and you also better not break up with her because now it's all over her social media, IG, right? You know what I mean? And that doesn't happen in most of the other demographics.
BDSM and kink.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's my mission. So hopefully I've rehearsed it enough to right, indeed.
Not his
But
first rodeo.
So for the sake of like keeping it simple, right, but still, in the event that there are people who are experts watch, you know what I mean, and know that I do have, like a level of expertise in this. The simple way of putting BDSM and kink is that it's, as I mentioned earlier, unconventional sex. So it's anything that you can add to a sexual experience, and then so BDSM, it gives a title and a range of what happened. Kinks give a range of what can happen in that. So BDSM is bondage, right? And then it would be discipline and dominance. That's what the D is. S is for submission and sadism, and then the M is for masochism, right? You can Google those things or whatever, but I mean, or I can give some context to those. But within that umbrella, there's so many things that happen. So what I do without penetration, we call it play, right? And so like intercourse is also play, right? But you have, and I've put it into an acronym. Again, I'm a teacher, man. I love doing this, right? I make things portable, so whatever level you're on. But essentially, kink and BDSM would be unconventional sex, right? Under that umbrella, the types of play, it would be making a bridge. So in bridging the gap with two B's. So there is bondage, right, which is tying up. Also rigging, that would just, sometimes people engage in that because they like to feel restricted, right? So to bridge that gap, if you are an individual who likes when he holds your arms down during sex, then you might be into bondage. If you've ever considered, the handcuffs, or if you wanted him to grab you a certain way and then just like pin you down, even your legs being pinned back to the bed, like you might be into bondage, right? Breath play, which is, what all women try to throw in their songs or whatever, but that's choking, right? And then there are other ways of doing breath play, right? But essentially what you're doing is, and it's another way of saying edge play as well. You're playing with the idea of getting close to death, if you will, without not actually going there. And sometimes if you release it at the right moment, then it increases the intensity of your orgasm. So breath play is another part of that, right? And those are the two B's, so breath play and
I've heard the term edge play. What exactly is that?
Depends on what context they're using it. So edge play in general, honestly, is like really like taboo, or could be said unsafe play, right? So there is a thing called knife play, even. Blood play, right? And so these things, this is right. And so so to bring it back,
because I don't know what you meant by that. Either way,
right. But edge. So mostly, I believe what they're referring to, right, is bringing a person, because it could be a male. I don't deal with males, right? But bringing a woman, I'll say, to the point of orgasm without allowing her to. And so getting her to the edge and then stopping it right there. Gotcha. And so what happens is that intensifies the orgasm when you finally, in my case and in the sessions I do, give her permission, right? Like, no, hold it. But it also can be helpful for men because in practicing edging on ourselves, we learn to have more stamina. Like we get familiar with that sweet spot.
Does that work?
100%. I teach lasting longer too.
No, but the edging, because you read that stuff and you hear it, you know what I mean. And also, there's another one. Damn, I forgot the term. But
about talking about joking, are you?
No.
Okay.
No. But
never mind. Don't.
but you're saying for a man, edging, just constant. Like if you're doing it, practicing at the house, and you just, you know what I mean. That works to extend your time sexually.
For two reasons. Like your body actually becomes more accustomed to it naturally. The same way in working out, the weights aren't as heavy anymore, right? So essentially what you're doing when you're masturbating is you're giving yourself arousal. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you're having sex, you're giving yourself arousal. So it's the same thing going on. If you practice arousal so much, then you don't feel it at that point anymore. Like maybe you need a little bit more. Or again, to what I was saying, you recognize that point, and then now you're able to, oh, okay, I'm about to explode. I need to slow down, maybe pace myself. One of the tips I give men as a quick cheat code is stop and eat a little bit, right? Like you're having intercourse, you just pull out, right? She don't know that's what happened, but you go down or whatever. Yeah. And then what you do is you implement that in your regular routine anyway, so it doesn't look like you're only stopping when you're about to explode. But 100%, edging is an activity that can help you in lasting a little bit longer in the bedroom.
It's all quite logical, Bubba.
It sounds logical. I just didn't know if it actually works and actually, you know what I mean?
But
yeah.
The way he broke it down,
the way he broke it down is
yeah. And see, I mean, just kind of think about it. Like you know what it feels like, and it was funny when I was younger. I used to. I have 4 older brothers, and I know. Oh man, I'm gonna have to call them and apologize. I used to ask the most uncomfortable questions because they had been through it all sexually.
Yeah.
So like I went to them one time. It's like how I know when I'm coming. Like it was just that simple, and of course they ignored me. I'm from Miami. Like they probably beat me up or something. I don't know. But like in recognizing that feeling, you now in practicing or in exercising edge play on yourself, you recognize it and you're like, oh, and then there's a place right in the rectum that and I just did it. That's funny. I sat here and I did it just now. But the same way women do Kegels, right? Their exercises, men can do that as well. And so they exercise those muscles down there so that they practice the squeezing or the pulling. And so that helps you to relieve some of the pressure or the tension that's being pushed towards the blood vessels that's about to make you explode. And so that is essentially also what happens when you're edging. Like you start to recognize your entire body and what it feels like. And then you're able to run away from that so that you can last a little bit longer.
Rewinding a couple seconds. Why is sex so uncomfortable for people to talk about in like regular settings?
I'm going to be honest. It's not uncomfortable for everybody. I think it's uncomfortable for us culturally a whole lot. And the one word I'll use is judgment. And so that is why that's also why I'm such a, like an advocate of like sex positive environments, promoting intimacy and education is because I truly believe, I say it like this, right? Like people spend, thousands, hundreds of thousands on mental health, on their physical health, dietitians, things like that, because they believe it contributes positively to their life, right? We all could agree that sex does as well. Like there's studies, like not just making that up, you know what I mean? Like to your mental health and to your physical health.
For sure.
The thing that I realize is that most of the other areas that I mentioned, they usually involve restricting things or taking things away, like don't eat this or don't involve yourself in this type of behavior. Don't think this way. Whereas the sex positive environment and BDSM and kink is actually encouraging you to add things on in order to experience a more healthy mental and sexual and physical positive lifestyle. And so it becomes uncomfortable because in growing up, like no, we're not talking about, you can't walk around a room while you with somebody else's penis out, right? But I've found most of the Caucasian couples that I deal with, even Hispanic couples, they got no problem at all. It's mostly our demographic that has an issue. A white guy, and I mean nothing by it, right? But a white guy can go home, tell his wife that he wants to be pegged, which is like he wants her to insert a phallic symbol into his, right?
A phallic symbol.
Right. right away, that makes people cringe, right? And I mean most of us, especially most black people, right? You do that as a black guy, go home and tell your girl that. First of all, she looking at you like ill. Yeah. The next thing that's going to happen is she calling her homegirl saying you gay.
100%.
100%, right?
Even if y'all been together
and then
for years.
And you also better not break up with her because now it's all over her social media, IG, right? You know what I mean? And that doesn't happen in most of the other demographics because of judgment. So I do want to again bridge that gap, make us realize that some of these things we do. If you like closing your eyes during sex, then you actually might like sensory deprivation. You might like to be blindfolded often, right?
very good visual.
I picked that
No,
up.
right. He's like, what? Yeah, but see, that's it. Like we
Sometimes
we
I
do
don't
these
get it until he
things.
finished, but I picked that one up kind of
Yeah,
early.
you're
We-
quick.
You did. He was like blindfold. I like that one. We do these things.
Almost
We just
quick
don't
as
have.
He normally is in bed.
That's why you asked that tip, right? I got you, man. I'm gonna text you later, man. There's some other, a cock
Text me
ring
the
is another
tips,
one.
man.
A cock ring is another thing that helps, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, in general, like it becomes uncomfortable mostly for us, but it's because of judgment. We hear things like that, and the response is that, oh, you're gay. Like if something like that happens, when in actuality, they may just be exploring a little more. The male G spot, which is the P spot, is in the prostate, right? So in order to explore that, if I wanted to just find out what that orgasm felt like, I would need somebody to massage my prostate. Who better to ask than the woman that I'm with, right? And so that doesn't sound comfortable for people because they think about what people are going to think about them wanting their prostate massaged. And so I think if we can let go of the judgment, I think it would be a more healthy conversation and a whole lot more people will realize how much BDSM and kink they're already into.
Why do you feel that the judgment is so much harsher in the black community?
Just because, like, we just bad at, you know, accepting things. I mean, we grow up, I think here's what I think. We grow up having to be so hard in life about everything. Like, you have to be that much better. There can't be a soft spot. You can't be vulnerable. And I think talking about your lack of sexual prowess is an example of not being vulnerable.
Right.
And not having sexual prowess, another way of saying that is just not having enough information. So now you're saying that you don't know enough. And now that makes you sound inadequate. And you can't be inadequate as a little black boy, right? So, like, I think that's where it comes from. Like, you
Right.
growing up with your friends, and we're in the locker room, and you just got to say you had sex because everybody else is talking about it, instead of saying no, but also wanting to learn about it.
Well,
You know what I mean?
some white people had to say that too.
I didn't mean, I actually believed every white guy that said they had sex. I totally believed him, right? I believe they got drunk one day and then just did it, you know?
But like what he's saying is there's no shame or judgment that follows that.
That's what it is.
When like I says
Yeah.
that in that environment. Well, yeah, if a black kid says that, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
But we're actually doing it again. Like that whole BDSM thing, man.
Yeah.
People are already doing it. They just don't have a language for it. And so, yeah, just be prepared to not judge yourself. And once you exercise that freedom, then it truly doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? What other people are thinking.
You know, going back to the relationship thing, you know, one thing you didn't mention, but when I find myself in these long-term relationships,
Yeah.
some of it is just laziness. You know, as far as,
Yeah.
you know, because being with the same
in what
woman,
respect?
I was just gonna ask. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sexually or like just in-
pleasuring your woman, because when you're with the same person, you have to see this person every single day. You know, it's for me, it's tough for me to put my best performance in every single time versus, you know, if I'm on a road trip going to see this girl for the first time or whatever, or a woman I don't see as often.
Uh-huh.
You want to put
An athlete only has so many great performances.
Oh man, is there a sexual hyperbolic chamber you can get in to kind of rejuvenate and do it again?
You're
I don't
the
know.
expert, bro.
Touche, my friend.
what do you say? What do you say to that?
Well, so I would give you the question back, because again, what I want to make evident is that it's like there's not a different species that's participating in this type of behavior, right? Like these are people that we talk to, so they have the same concepts. So
Yeah.
if I'm at a job that's getting boring, but I know I'm going to stay at that job, what are some things I can do to make myself more excited about going to work? And that concept is what I would do in my relationship to make it more exciting. So, you know, in sales, right? Like if I was, sometimes we would sit next to each other and decide to pick another word to say on the next call that we had, right?
Okay.
So it's like find a way to put goose fraba in your next sentence. You know, it's like, well, hey, like, I mean, paying all of this bill wouldn't make sense to you today, like the word goose fraba, but I think you need to pay it because, like, whatever the case may be. The point is you would find something exciting in that work day in order to give you some excitement for that moment. You might ask your boss if things could change. You might have a conversation to your superiors at work to say, hey, it's a little bit mundane. You might need to change positions. It doesn't mean that you change the job, right? But like your responsibilities may change. So your responsibility in the bedroom may have always been to bring the things, which is what makes you a dominant it's partially what makes you a dominant person, right? Which is the person who has most of the control
Well,
and makes most
I
of the
think one of the
decisions.
dynamics you have in a relationship is like is somebody will. A lot of times it falls into a pattern where somebody always is the one initiating the sex.
And so
And
that's
the
what I'm
other
saying.
person is less, like they're never initiating it. And then when they don't want it, it feels like kind of like, well, what? I got to ask every freaking time, and we're
That
only
happened
going
to
to
me.
hit 50% of the time. Happens to everybody, man.
Mostly guys,
No,
you
but
think?
yeah, oh, guys,
Because women
for
aren't
sure.
just walking around like,
Yeah.
so the song, come here, bring that. I just want somebody to text me that song. Like that's my dream, that a woman would just make me feel like a piece of meat someday, right? But so because most women aren't like really doing that,
They aren't
but
wired